Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Today, we're returning to a DreamWorks franchise that I haven't really talked about for a long time. How to Train Your Dragon. If you may recall, about 5 years ago, me and my friend Jason Roeder did a blog on the second movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2. And we did praise this movie as one of the best animated sequels ever made so far. Not only did it have amazing animation, but we liked the many different new dragons featured in the movie. And of course, the final battle between Hiccup, Toothless, Drago, and the Alpha Dragon was really epic. But at the same time, it was also sad when Hiccup's father Stoic got killed, and it was very touching when Hiccup was reunited with his long-lost mother Valka. Anyway, a while ago, I've heard news that a third movie was in production, and, well, unfortunately, I couldn't get Jason Roeder to return for this video. So, instead, I decided to blog the new movie on my own. So, let's get started. Released on February 22nd, 2019, the movie is How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World. So, let's get started. Hiccup and Astrid have created a gloriously chaotic dragon utopia. But when a sudden appearance of a female light fury coincides with the darkest threat their village has ever faced, Hiccup and Toothless must leave the only home they've ever known and journey into a hidden world, though only to exist in myth. As their true destinies are revealed, Dragon and Rider will fight together to the very ends of the earth to protect everything they've grown to treasure. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, in my opinion, this movie was really epic and a fantastic conclusion to a franchise like this. But, also, this movie does make up for the past two DreamWorks films that were released 2 years ago. And also, to further explain why I enjoy this movie, let's move on to Mustang notes. This film is the first DreamWorks animated movie to be distributed by Universal Studios, whose parent company, NBC Universal, acquired DreamWorks Animation in 2016. It is produced by Bonnie Arnold and Brad Lewis. Writer and director Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders are the executive producers. In my opinion, like the second movie, the animation is absolutely spot on and beautiful. Not just the scenery in New Berk, but also the flying scenes and the oceans are absolutely magnificent. Also, I'm happy that this is one of the few DreamWorks movies that does not need pop cultural references to make the movie interesting, and relies on its own style of humor, kind of like the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. Also, I like the certain plots involving the characters in the movie. For example, I like when Valka acts like a scout to make sure that the villains are not following them. Also, I think it's kind of cute when Fishlegs is looking after a baby dragon, and even though it was pretty irritating, it was clever for Rough Nut to annoy the villains into letting her free. Also, I think it's nice when Tough Nut has a few scenes where he tries to give some advice to Hiccup. And it is kind of weird how Snoutlout is trying to compete against Irrit. Also, Gobber is great when, well, being Hiccup's assistant in the tribe. Another thing I like about this movie are the flashbacks featuring Hiccup's father Stoic. To me, those scenes are really touching. I also like the scenes where Toothless and a female Light Fury are getting to know each other. However, there are a few scenes that feel kind of familiar. For example, the part where Hiccup leads his tribe to a new home to flee from the warlords feels kind of like a plot point from Star Wars Episode 8. Also, the part where Hiccup releases Toothless to be with his Light Fury mate was not only very sad, but it made me think of the ending to Bye Bye Butterfree. As for the hidden world itself, well, the entrance kind of makes me think of that waterfall part in Pirates of the Caribbean 3, and the scenery inside looks almost like Avatar's Pandora at night. Plus, the scene where Hiccup and Astrid are secretly watching the dragons kind of reminds me of Bulbasaur's mysterious garden. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. The main hero and chief of the Berkians, Hiccup, is once again voiced by Jay Baruchel, best known from Jerry Bruckheimer's The Sorcerer's Apprentice and Ben Stiller's Tropic Thunder. To me, ever since his father Stoic got killed in the last movie, Hiccup has improved as a dragon rider. Plus, I think Hiccup's leadership as chief is awesome. Plus, I think Hiccup's flame sword looks kind of like those swords that you'd see in a Final Fantasy game. Also, I think the bond between him and Toothless has deeply improved. And I still think Toothless looks a lot like Stitch. No surprise, since Chris Sanders is still involved with this trilogy. I also find it pretty funny when Toothless was doing all sorts of silly moves and draws a picture in the sand to impress the Light Fury, who for some reason doesn't have a name. Plus, I think Toothless's new abilities, like electricity and camouflaging, are really impressive. Hiccup's fiancée, Astrid, is again voiced by America Ferrera, whom I remember as Fawn from the first Tinkerbell movie. To me, the relationship between Astrid and Hiccup has gotten a lot better since their engagement. Plus, I like that Astrid shows her fierceness and tough warrior skills. Plus, I do like Astrid's sense of adventure and her playfulness. The rest of Hiccup's friends are as follows. Snoutloud, voiced by Jonah Hill, and Fishlegs, voiced by Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Unfortunately, even though Kristen Wiig does reprise her role as Roughnut, her brother Toughnut is not voiced by TJ Miller this time. So, instead, Toughnut is voiced by Justin Ruppel, who actually does a pretty good job voicing Toughnut. Next we have Hiccup's mother Valka, Eret the Dragon Hunter from the second movie, and warrior/blacksmith Gobber, voiced by Kate Blanchett, Kit Harington, and Craig Ferguson. While I did mention their roles earlier on the video, I gotta say, they're great while helping Hiccup lead the Berkians. Finally, we come to the new villain, Gremmel, an infamous dragon hunter who is hired by the warlords, voiced by F. Murray Abraham. In my opinion, this guy is equally as threatening as Drago from the second movie. In fact, in this film, Gremmel believes that dragons and humans simply cannot live together. He holds a great prejudice towards dragons, and he is of the firm belief that they must be either imprisoned or eliminated. Any alternative idea that involves coexistence are unacceptable to him. Also, it is revealed that he's responsible for bringing Night Furies to nearly extinction. Also, I think his Death Gripper dragons are very ferocious, and it's very deadly when Grimmel uses their venom to drug other dragons. The rest of the cast includes Julia Emelin, Olafur Dari Olafsson, and James Sy. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World is another great sequel. The animation is amazing, the characters are still lovable and memorable, like in the last two films, the bond between Hiccup and Toothless is still very touching, and I'm happy that Toothless has found a mate, and that Hiccup and Astrid are officially a married couple. As for the villain Grimmel, well, he's still no Drago, but he was still a very threatening villain. Lastly, the story may have been a bit nostalgic, but it was also very epic and tear-jerking. So, if you folks love these dragon movies, then I highly recommend you go see this movie. As for my final rating, well, I give this film a full 100%. Well, that's all for now, everybody. Be sure to tune in for my next blog. Mustang Power.